So I first began singing when I was really, really young. I think my mum used to put on Top of the Pops, and I used to just be glued to the TV from like a really young age. And when I went to high school, I think I had like singing lessons and that kind of thing. But what I really liked doing was songwriting. So I'd just sit in front of my piano and just play these really, really simple songs, which probably sound terrible if I played them now. But I kind of knew at that point that it was all I really wanted to do. So instead of going to college or university, I really just wanted to make music and write songs. So my first EP, Early Hours, it's the first thing I've put out as a solo artist. And because it was such a strange year, 2020, I've kind of felt like the songs in it really summed up the feeling of the year in my head. And Early Hours in general, all the songs were written at a certain time of day, or they were inspired by like a feeling I had at a certain time of day. And it just felt really good to get a collection of songs out there, because I've released singles in the past, or I've released in previous projects, but it was really good to kind of have a piece of work that really summed me up as an artist and that I really wanted to share with the world as well. In terms of a follow-up, I've been writing solidly since I released that EP, because I want to keep putting music out and keep people obviously listening to my music and really kind of connecting with it. I've been in the studio a few times already since November as well. Obviously it's quite difficult with the restrictions or with COVID, but I'm hoping to get loads more music out this year and share a lot of kind of unreleased material as well, and just kind of do a bit more like Instagram lives, or just pick up the guitar and just show people what I've been doing behind the scenes as well. As a songwriter, inspiration I think can be quite sporadic. Sometimes general life will inspire me, like something I'm going through, or like an experience or a relationship, and usually that's what I draw from. But as well, I think listening to the people that inspired the people I listen to as well. So I've listened to a lot of music like Fleetwood Mac, who are one of my all-time favourite bands, and David Bowie, and just some people that really influence the music that's now huge, or that has been huge for the past 10, 20 years, all was inspired by something else as well. So I'm finding nowadays, because of the way the world is, just having to pull my inspiration from as many places as possible and just try and make sure that I'm making the best music I possibly can. My creative process varies, but usually what would happen is I'd just pick up the guitar or sit in front of a piano and just play whatever kind of I feel like is right at that time. Sometimes it could be a line I've thought of in my head, or it could be a melody that I can't get out of my head that I need to put into a song. And it's quite a different one than what I used to be like. So I used to be in a lot of bands, and I used to always make all the creative decisions in a big practice studio or in a big band rehearsal, and it would always be full of drums and guitar and bass and that kind of thing. So I feel nowadays it's more about kind of imagining those things in my head. So I'll bash out like a melody that's in my head on the guitar, and then imagine what the drums would be doing, and then imagine what the piano is doing, and can I imagine it being played in a massive venue? And if I can, then I'll keep going. And sometimes that process could be 5 minutes and the song is done, or it could be 5 months. It really just depends on the song and the moment in time. My first headline show in 2019 was awesome, just because it was the first opportunity I had to really have people singing my music back, and it's such a affirming thing when people do that, because it just shows not only that your music's catchy enough for people to remember, but it's also it's just shows that people are invested in you, and that your music really means something to people. So that was obviously an amazing show. But I've had such great shows in general. I've been lucky enough to have some great experiences in the past. I had an opportunity to play at Reading Leeds Festival a few years back, which was really, really great. And also I had a great support show at Shepherd's Bush Empire in London, which was amazing because I managed to connect with so many new people. But in general, I think any show where people come and show their support and turn up and sing along, it's just always, even if it's 5 people or if it's 500 people, it always is amazing. when live events open up again, honestly, I'm just going to play shows anywhere. I'm trying to think of somewhere I'm most looking forward to perform. But I think the one thing that I missed so much in 2020 was festivals. And I think most people will probably agree that it's in the summer, every weekend there's festivals all around the country, all around the world. And not having a festival summer really it didn't feel like the year was complete without it. So hopefully if everything's safe to do so, I'd just love to get on a few lineups like I did the year before in 2019 and just play to such bigger audiences than I usually do. My bucket list venues, I think at the top would obviously be something like Glastonbury Festival as somewhere to play, whether it be on the Pyramid stage or whether it be on one of the lower down, bigger stages. It would be an absolute dream to perform at that festival anyway. But also places like the O2 Arena, which I've seen so many artists I've kind of loved in the past, and I think just any kind of big scale arena like that would always be incredible. But yeah, I think at the top of the list would definitely be Glastonbury Festival. So The Voice was a really fun experience, and I think as a team behind the show, they really do care about new artists, which is great. I mean, and historically, I've always kind of said it probably wouldn't be the kind of show I do, but also when they kind of when I spoke to them and when they approached me, it felt right, and it felt like a really good opportunity to perform in front of a mass audience and to kind of share my message as well. And I think the most lovely thing has been that from that audition, so many people have got in touch and been like, I've heard your original music and I've heard like Lying on the Concrete, or I've heard the Early Hours EP, and I've really connected with it. And to me, that's exactly why going on that show felt like such a good decision, because it's connected me with so many more people that would never have heard my music before. And it was so humbling as well to hear the feedback from Ollie Murs and to hear the feedback from all the coaches who really seemed to care about my performance. Even though they didn't turn, they seemed to really feel a bit numb that they didn't, which meant a lot as well, because it kind of affirmed to me that they liked it. It just wasn't what they were looking for at that time. I probably wouldn't audition for another talent show, no. Not because there is obviously anything wrong with talent shows. I watch them all the time. I think they're great. I just feel like as a musician now, I want to put as much time as possible into writing songs and playing shows, and as much time as I can into that side of thing. So at the moment, I'm listening to a bunch of new music. I always try to at the start of the year, and I usually catch up on albums that I've missed from the year before. But there's a song that I've probably listened to about 50 times over the past 2 days, and it's Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo. I actually did a clip on my TikTok of the chorus, and it's one of those songs that I really wish I'd written. So I'm really excited to see what she comes out with next. Who inspires me musically? I would say it naturally bands like Fleetwood Mac, The Killers, some of my favourite bands I always kind of look to when I'm low on inspiration. But I think that the people that are close in my life really inspire me as well, because if I didn't have things to write about or kind of people like a support bubble around me that were really helping me, I think I'd kind of struggle to really draw the songs out of me sometimes. In terms of music though, I think at the moment, especially with Early Hours and with my new music, an artist called Bon Iver has really made me rethink the way that I look at music and the way that I create it, and made me think it's all about how it feels, and that's the best way to portray the message. I'm hoping in 2021, I'm hoping that we can all start going to live shows again. That'll be the first and most important one. But I'm also hoping that I can get more music out there, that I can get more people along for the journey as well. And I'm just hoping that as a family and as a world, we can kind of move past what's been a really, really traumatic pandemic. And I can't wait to share more music with people, and for everyone to get back to doing things they love that have been kind of ruined in the past few years, or the past year. A final message would be thank you for reading this, and thank you for checking me out as a musician if you have, and I can't wait to share more music with you in the future. Thank you so much.